Welcome back to day 7 of the 100 horror films in 31 days. Got in 5 films. First up, I checked out on Shudder One Cut of the Dead, which is a Japanese film from 2017. It's a zomcom, and it was made on a micro budget, like $25,000. A director named Uceda. I can't really pronounce his name, but it's an interesting concept. Basically, it's a movie about a guy making a zombie movie, but the zombie apocalypse actually happens while they're making the movie. I don't want to go into too much more detail to spoil it, but it's an interesting take. I mean, they filmed it all in this water filtration plant, so I guess the location was relatively cheap. It was a decent one-time watch. I mean, I'm not in love with it. I thought the comedy didn't. It was hit and miss. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. It's not one that I would go back to. But I know a lot of people just raving about it, so I had to see it. Next up is a film I really loved, which was Boar. And I saw Boar on Shudder as well. Australian film from I think from 2011 actually. 2011. Chris Sun. 2017. Another 2017 film, Boar. Chris Sun, I think is a great director. I loved Boar. I give it a 9 out of 10. I think it was a fantastic modern retelling of the nature run amok movies, which I fell in love with in the 70s. Grizzly. It reminds me of Grizzly in a way. Grizzly, when it came out in the 70s, took a lot of flack. I mean, not very good. But now people look back on it lovingly. I have a feeling 15 years from now that people are going to say Boar is just fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was great. I know people complain about the CGI a little bit, but I've seen a lot worse CGI, a lot worse, and I thought it was a good mix of CGI and the actual animatronic Boar itself. Bill Moseley is in it. I thought he did a good job, and a WWE wrestler takes on the Boar towards the end, which was fantastic. Actually, the characters in the Boar I thought were very entertaining as well. Hugh Sheridan is in it, and I thought he was good as well. It's what you would expect. It's some campers out in the outback that are attacked by this boar. Now, they never really explain why the boar got to be so damn huge, but anyway, it didn't bother me any. I thought it was fun. I also watched on a streaming service Monster House, which is an animated film this one's from 2006. Gil Kennan directed it. It was his directorial debut, and they basically used motion capture to do the animation. It's about a little kid and his friend who are getting babysat by this really funny kind of goth girl, and they end up going to this monster house, which is owned by this old crotchety man who wants to kill these kids every time they get on his lawn. And it's kind of like a roller coaster ride. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's not Monster House is not something that I would like just go for and just watch. It was part of the subset films that we had to watch as part of the 31 Days of Horror. And I'm glad it was, because typically that's not something that I would have just grabbed and said, hey, I'm going to sit down and watch Monster House. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and can't complain about it. 7.5 out of 10. Next up, 1963's X, The Man with the X-Ray Eyes, directed by Roger Corman. Ray Milland plays Dr. Xavier, who has found some kind of a serum that would help people's eyesight, but what it actually does is gives them X-ray vision, and he treats himself, and he ends up becoming a guy that can see through people into their bodies, and with the results initially are good, but then of course it goes bad towards the middle and end of the film. Don Rickles, you catch Don Rickles, the comedian Don Rickles is in this film. Ray Milland was excellent. This is a good classic film. I recommend it. Probably need to pick up a Blu-ray. I don't know if there is a Blu-ray on this. If there is, let me know. And then finally, next up is 1985's Phenomena, Dario Argento. This is the limited edition steelbook that came out from Synapse. I watched the long 116-minute cut of the film. Jennifer Connelly stars in it, and of course Donald Pleasance is in it. This is just, I think this is a film that, you look at what Dario Argento's portfolio of films, and you think, well, it's another Giallo along the lines of Inferno or things like that. I think it's just a straight up horror film. You don't get the satisfying ending. In some respects, you don't get the satisfying ending that a Giallo gives you, which is why the killer is doing the killings. But I mean, it's also got some really bizarre moments. Jennifer Connelly has an ability to control nature and animals. She's basically an animal whisperer, and she sets out to try to solve a bunch of serial killings with the help of Donald Pleasance and a monkey. And apparently the monkey was not easy to control during the production of the film. The monkey bit Jennifer Connelly, I believe, at one point. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. The soundtrack is a little bit of a divergence from what you typically expect from Argento. He went more with hard rock. I think Motorhead is in here. Number of different kind of hard rock bands. Iron Maiden. So yeah, I enjoyed it. 8.5 out of 10. This is a loaded release. 3 discs, 2 Blu-rays, a DVD, and the soundtrack. I think you can get this same release without the soundtrack if you missed out on it. And apparently Arrow also has this is a release which has a 4K scan, which I understand is better picture quality. But I thought the picture was outstanding. Sound quality was outstanding. I got no complaints. I mean, I'm not going to double dip on buy the Arrow release. I may way down the road, but I'm happy with this Synapse release. All right, that's going to do it for day 7. And if you got any comments, leave them below. Thanks.